Easter weekend, the clocks have gone forward and the countdown is well and truly on to an end of a captivating Premier League season. Liverpool arrive at Anfield on a day when each of the top three are in action. Three great teams who will stand tall and become Premier League champions in 2024. So 10 matches to go in the Premier League. The first of them comes against a team Liverpool haven't beaten here at Anfield since 2019. Brighton, the visitors today. It gets underway at 2 o'clock. Very good afternoon, happy Easter, welcome along to Matchday Live in the company of Gary Gillespie and David James today. This is it then, Gary, the run-in starts here. What do Liverpool have to do to ensure they are league champions for a 20th time?
Win 10 games in a row.
Sounds so easy.
It sounds so simple. I think we've been in this position a number of times over the last 2 or 3 years. I think we're course and distance winners, but we're falling short as well. I think vitally important your home form is good, which Liverpool's has been. This will test them though. Brighton have come here before and caused us all sorts of problems. Caused us all sorts of problems down at Amex as well earlier this season. So it's going to be a tough game. Liverpool have to be somewhere near their best, which I think they will be, to be quite honest with you. I think they've got the bit between their teeth. They can see the finishing line. And let's face it, it's going to be a ding-dong battle between Arsenal, Manchester City and Liverpool all the way. Big match to come. Is it 4:30 they play? I think Liverpool have got to get the job first and foremost, get the job done here and look to that game, and hopefully something can happen, maybe a draw or who knows what the best result will be there. But first and foremost, get the job done here.
Well, actually, I'll just follow up with that question to you, David. What do you think the best result is for Liverpool at the Etihad later?
Well, good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you're watching. The easy answer would be a draw, simply because both teams would obviously drop 2 points. However, you want one of them not to feel confident after playing that game. So one of them winning, I think, would be more ideal. I think the Brighton, I know you have different views on this, but I think Brighton playing each of the three teams in the next 6 games will have a massive impact on the outcome of the title. Like Gary said, Liverpool win their home games, including today, obviously, with Brighton. Brighton play City and Arsenal at the Amex, and that's where they're the strongest. So whatever happens in the game later, Liverpool win today, and then we can enjoy listening to on the radio driving home.
Well, Gary, you touched on it, that in terms of the table and it being so close, Liverpool have been here before with Manchester City in recent years. Does it change it at all that there are 3 teams in the race?
Yeah, I think, when you look at this, there's still 10 games to go. There's still a lot of football still to be played. Arsenal kind of capitulated a little bit last season. I think they've probably learned from that a little bit. I think they're stronger, probably mentally as well as physically. I think Declan Rice has made a big difference to their side. I think he's come into it, and I think he'll certainly last the distance. And I think he gives them that extra solidity, maybe that extra belief, and they can go all the way. But it's going to be interesting. I've always been of the belief that Manchester City and Liverpool will stay the distance, and I always felt that Arsenal might just drop off a little bit. And it's interesting to think that if Arsenal go to the Etihad and get beat today, what kind of effect does that have on them for the rest of the 9 games that they've got to play? Do they believe that they think, well, maybe this is the same as what happened last season? So it might be a case where we want Manchester City to beat Arsenal. But again, I think it's interesting. It's great for the neutral, isn't it? To have 3 teams going all the way down to the wire. But as I say, I'm not 100% sure it will go down to the wire. I think Liverpool and Manchester City will pull away.
You mentioned that we were talking off air, David, about the run-ins of the 3 respective teams, and that Brighton are one of 4 clubs that all 3 of the top 3 will play, along with Tottenham, Aston Villa and Wolves as well. When you look at those 3 sets of fixtures, who do you think has the toughest and who do you think has the, in speech marks, easiest? Because I'm sure there won't be many easy ones between now and May.
Well, I can see Luton Town there, and that's definitely going to be a tough one for a couple of teams. Now, I think the reason I like Brighton as the one for a better phrase, perhaps a kingmaker, is the fact that Brighton at home are very, very good. They've only lost 1 game at home. 7 of their defeats have come away from home. So essentially, when you play Brighton away from home, Luton beat them 4-0. They're capable of losing 4-0. At home, they're capable of winning 4 or 5. So the point being is that Manchester City and Arsenal have to go there. I like Gary's. I've been on Gary's view for a while, that I think it's a 2-horse race, and Arsenal just happen to be making a bit of noise around it. I think that Liverpool and Manchester City will go away with it. I think, again, if City were to win at the Etihad this afternoon, which wouldn't be a surprise, then it would become a lot clearer a lot earlier. I just think that Arsenal haven't got what it takes to win this title, and therefore they're making noise, they're making it interesting, and if anything, they're also making a bit of a distraction for the other two, rather than it just be a simple clear two-horse race.
In fairness to Arsenal, I think you've got to give them a little bit of credit. They're probably the form horse at this moment in time. Since the turn of the year, they've been playing exceptionally well, scoring an awful lot of goals as well. So they'll still think that they are in the mix. But as I say, I've just got that funny inkling that they will drop away again.
The other point about those fixtures that we've just looked at, it doesn't include the Champions League, the Europa League, Manchester City still in the FA Cup as well. Look, Liverpool, you wouldn't want to be disrespectful in terms of their path to a potential final in Dublin, but there maybe is just the opportunity to tweak slightly more for Jurgen Klopp than there is for Mikel Arteta and Pep Guardiola in those midweek games.
Yeah, I think the Europa League or Europa Cup is always seen as like the second best, isn't it? And probably the emphasis is always on the Champions League, and I think there's far greater pressure on the Champions League games. Hence the reason I think it might weigh heavily on Arsenal and Manchester City. But, you know, listen, we're in a semi-final. A semi-final is a semi-final. It's still a massive game. Quarter-final, sorry. But I think we'll be in the semi-final. But there's still, you know, there's still big games and like still a lot of distance to go. I think Arsenal, Manchester City have been there before and done it and seen it all before, so I think you've got to give them a little bit of credit and think that they can stay the distance, and it won't faze them. Will it faze Arsenal? That's the big question, and I think that's what everybody's looking to see.
Interesting as well that the international break, no more breaks now between now and the end of the season. Fair few Liverpool players fed a fair amount of minutes over the course of the international break. I think as Jurgen Klopp, you're always sort of hiding behind the sofa as to see who comes back looking well. On the subject of looking well, Trent Alexander-Arnold back in training as well, that keeping most of the players fit and maybe getting the likes of Trent and Jota back is big for Liverpool now.
Absolutely. I think what looking at the last game against obviously United in the FA Cup, and it was one of those games where obviously you don't want to lose to United any time. However, in a weird kind of way, I think it did Liverpool a favour. And the way that you're mentioning the injury list that Liverpool have had, this has been going on throughout the season. There's been a lot of turbulence in selection opportunities or options for Jurgen. I think the team have actually bought into the fact that they don't generally know who's going to be playing each week from game to game. Getting knocked out by United in a position where I think Liverpool would have thought they would have normally won actually was a bit of a reminder that football is not just turn up and win games, which in some ways Liverpool have been able to do in a fantastic way this season. So you're looking at that injury list, you're looking at players getting fit to the point that when it comes to the big games, i.e. the ones that are going to decide whether it's the Europa League, whether it's the Premier League, you're going to have as fit a squad as possible. So yeah, it's good and encouraging, but you do not need to rush them back. And we had a conversation about players have been rushed back and getting injured straight away. So I think Liverpool are in a great place at the moment, and even a better place because they don't have to worry about the FA Cup now.
Yeah, the FA Cup is gone. Liverpool still fighting on a couple of fronts with, of course, the League Cup already safely in the trophy cabinet. So what do we know about the teams that both managers might select today? Well, Roberto De Zerbi has made more changes to his Premier League side than any other manager over the course of the season. He's had injuries, so too Jurgen Klopp. But let's get details of both 11s for this afternoon's game at Anfield from Peter McDowell.
Well, it's the first Premier League game, Rob, for 21 days for Liverpool. This is the home straight now. 10 games to go, 15 potentially if your nerves can take it. And this appears to be, when you look at the TV schedules, the support act for the main game today in the Premier League. Not that the Liverpool players will have given that any thought at all. Hopefully they will be able to when they're looking down the Premier League table come 4:30 this afternoon. Where the team is concerned, good news on Andrew Robertson is that his injury not as serious as they first thought, potentially in with a chance for Thursday, but not this one today. Good progress for the likes of Curtis Jones, Diogo Jota and Trent Alexander-Arnold, but progress not that quick in time for this one today. So just one quandary at the heart of Liverpool's defence, and that is the one change that is shown for Jurgen Klopp as he goes in search of his 300th win as Liverpool manager. As you will see there, Jarell Quansah is the guy that gets the nod ahead of Ibrahima Konate, who's been wrapped in cotton wool this week to get him recovered in time for this one today. fit enough to be amongst the substitutes bench. So let's go amongst it in full then. Quavim Kelleher with his 11th start in a row, the best run of form, or best run of games, I should say, for him in his entire Liverpool career now. And on a similar theme, Joe Gomez, 25th game of the season, this one. That's his biggest tally of appearances in 4 years. Endo becomes that staple part of Liverpool's diet now as well, doesn't he? Missed 7 games at the Asia Cup. He started 9 from the last 10 prior to this today. And that familiarity then of Virgil van Dijk, Luis Diaz and Dominic Szoboszlai. Darwin Núñez wearing the 9, of course. 120 goals Liverpool have scored in 46 games this season. He's been at the heart of so many of those for Liverpool. McAllister, former Brighton man, of course, 112 games in the blue and white, 3 in his last 3 for Liverpool. That's 4 goal involvements in the last 6 in the final third of the pitch for him. He is a man in form. And then Salah, talking of which, 8 goals in his last 14 games against Brighton. It's the best run of form for any Liverpool player against this opposition in Liverpool history. And Kwanzaa and Bradley make up the 11th. Don't forget as well, amongst the subs, 47 goal involvements from the bench this season. Harvey Elliott, who turns 21 on Thursday, might feel as though he's unlucky not to be in the 11. But then Gravenberch back involved again. Missed 3 weeks from that injury in the Carabao Cup final as well. And then there's a bit of experience and a bit of youthful exuberance mixed into that as well. Where Brighton are concerned, they've found life pretty tough with that added involvement of Europa League football this season. Dumped out by Roma, of course. Only won 2 from the last 6 now. And they're hoping to provide some kind of form, like you'd mentioned already, that became Liverpool's bogey team of recent times. But they have some injury problems of their own. Matoma, the most notable of them. João Pedro was facing a fitness test for this today, but he doesn't make it. Adam Webster does, though. And there are 3 changes. Notable is that Adam Lallana amongst the substitutes. No James Milner, who won't get the opportunity to play against Liverpool for the first time since leaving. So Verbruggen in goal. He started 4 of the last 6. They make lots of changes in goal. It's coincided his return, Verbruggen, with a much improved XG. They've changed the goalkeeper 17 times this season. Lamptey is 100th appearance of his career. Van Heck, Dunk, who scored 2 in his last 2 against Liverpool. Estupiñán looking for their 3rd clean sheet in a row, the back 4 or 5, how it might turn out today. Gross in that holding midfield position, very dangerous. 10 Premier League assists is the best record in the entire division for them this season. And then Welbeck up front will carry that goal threat. Lallana, as mentioned, amongst the subs, 6 years, nearly 200 appearances in Liverpool colours, making his 100th appearance for Brighton, should he get the chance to play here today. This is the 24th home game of the season. They've all become like sell-out concerts now as Jurgen Klopp nears the end. Already scored 73 goals, Liverpool, this season, and you wouldn't bet against being more here this Easter Sunday this afternoon.
Pete, thank you very much indeed. So then, as Pete said, just 1 change from the side that started that FA Cup defeat to Manchester United a fortnight ago. Obviously, Liverpool would prefer to have Andy Robertson available, but Joe Gomez has been a more than able deputy on that left-hand side this season.
I think he's been a more than able deputy in right-back position, centre-back position and left-back position. And he even had a little role in the number 6 role, didn't he, as well, in the centre of the midfield. I think he's been exceptional. Consistency-wise, he's probably the best that we've seen him. So I think he thoroughly deserves his position at left full-back. I thought he would have played today. I thought he might have been played right-back. But the fact that he's on the left-back, it maybe just unbalances Liverpool a little bit because he's not a naturally left-sided player. But in saying that, he's fitted in really well there. And continuity is a big thing, in especially back fours.
Because of that flexibility that Joe has shown this season as well, David, with your England hat on, your former teammate Gareth Southgate has a squad to pick soon. That flexibility gives Joe Gomez a real chance of being in the squad, surely.
Yeah, he's in.
He's in.
Yeah,
he's told you, has he?
No. Again, I agree with Gary. I think he's been fantastic this season. And I go back to the point I made just before Pete gave the teams there. I think because of the amount of change that Liverpool have had, and it's a common question, the defence is changing, how does that feel as a goalie? Well, I think everyone's so used to so much change that Joe has had an opportunity to actually show his value. Like Gary said, to play in multiple different positions any given time within the game or within different games. And he's just shown what an excellent player is. And at the moment, It'd be interesting how Jurgen perceives Brighton's performance, having watched them against Roma and the formation. I mean, we were deliberating on what their formation will be. I think it'll be a 4-2-3-1. I think that's right, 4-2-6. Yeah. In which case, your defenders aren't going to be doing massive amounts of defending. With then Cisco out, they're not going to be having the width that they usually have. So there's a lot of things actually playing to Liverpool's hands. And so with Joe not necessarily preferred as a left back, he will be able to play in that position with a little bit more comfort, I'd like to think, today.
At centre-half, Ibrahima Konate missed a day of training this week, just resting. He's one of those players you feel more than a lot that Jurgen Klopp is very careful with not to lose him, and if there's any doubt, he will err on the side of caution with Konate.
Well, the fortunate thing for Jurgen Klopp is he's got João Kwanzaa, who's stood in on a regular basis for a number of the centre-backs and performed to such a high level. So in that respect, the absence of Konate has not been such a big deal. I think he's a talented individual, Konate. I think he's got all the attributes, as I said before, for like a modern-day centre-back. He's quick, he's strong in the air, he's good in possession, he's comfortable in possession as well, and he can cover like a good bit of ground, which he's had to do in that right-sided centre-back position, because Liverpool, obviously, with Trent Alexander-Arnold and with Conor Bradley, push the full-backs high up, and it gives him quite a bit of an area to cover. But young João Kwanzaa coming in, certainly it's not been a problem from what I've seen. He's looked so composed, so mature for his young age, and his performances have been absolutely exceptional.
We will talk about the midfield a little bit later on, so let's push it into the forward areas, David. Pete mentioned that Mo Salah likes it against Brighton. Ultimately, he likes it against most teams, to be fair. Yeah. But Liverpool haven't been without Salah for as much as they've missed him this season. He's so durable, plays so many games. That spell out with injury, not playing for Egypt during the international break, we might see prime Mo Salah in the last quarter of the season. Yeah,
and I think when he was injured originally, it was kind of, what are Liverpool going to do now? Well, they carried on playing well and winning games and getting points. And again, back to the point that this turbulence this season has become so normal and they've adjusted it so well. You'd like to think that he is now ready. Again, as you say, international break, comes back. He needs to score a couple of goals. I've got a few friends who've got him in their fantasy team. He needs to know these things.
It's one of these funny situations, isn't it? Because all the talk about when he went to the AFCON was how can Liverpool deal without like Mohamed Salah? I think in the games that he missed, we scored something like 23 goals or something like that with the front three that we had. But it just shows you and emphasises the fact there's certain players that demand a start, and like Salah is one of them. I think as soon as he's back, and he's back on a regular basis, he's number one on the team sheet, isn't he? Because of his record. Again, he's got to 21 goals. I mean, fantastic to get over 20 goals. What is it, 7 seasons or something like that? So, exceptional stuff. And
those numbers, look at that, 76 minutes per goal involvement. And I think the point you made there, Gary, actually about when he was missing, that people like Diogo Jota and Darwin Núñez stood up to the plate.
Absolutely, 100%. But in saying that, can you leave Mohamed Salah out? You know, we were playing pretty well without him, in all fairness, scoring goals. But he's that one player that I think demands a start in your starting 11.
And you talked about the churn and the amount of change. That has been one of the good things this season, that when someone has been missing, whoever else has come into the team largely has taken their opportunity, whether it be established players or whether it be some of the youngsters.
Yeah, I mean, everything is dovetailed so well. And again, Mo goes away for the African Cup of Nations. Jota steps up and starts scoring goals. Then Jota gets injured when Mo comes back. Now, granted, Mo got injured very quickly after, but other players have stepped in. And I've just got to say about Kwanzaa again, against City, he was awesome. Absolutely awesome. And I think the belief in this team, from defence to midfield to attack, it's like a team belief, not just an 11 players on the field belief. And I say that, it's like anyone steps in or gets involved in this group of players, it's been a large group of players this season, they all have the belief that they can go out and win games. And when you've got Mo coming back fully fit, then the belief is you'll win games and he'll score and get on the score sheet.
When you think about it, you've got the best goalkeeper in the world, in my opinion, out. Kelleher comes in, not a problem. You've probably got arguably one of the best right football backs in world football at this moment in time, Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's out. Conor Bradley comes in, youngster, steps in, not a problem. João Kwanzaa comes in, not a problem. It's been a case throughout the course of the season that when you think, And it's not always been the case. It's a lot of the time in the past with Liverpool, if you've lost Mohamed Salah, if you've lost Alisson, or like Trent, it's who's going to come in and who's going to play there. But this season it just seems, as Jamo rightly says, it just seems to have fitted in seamlessly. And everybody that's had their opportunity, it really has taken it with open arms.
All right, well, full audio commentary of Liverpool against Brighton comes your way from Anfield from 2 o'clock this afternoon, and you'll be in the company of Natasha Dowie and Steve Hunter.
Thank you so much, Rob. Happy Easter, everybody. Hope you're having a great day so far. Hopefully it'll be even better in a couple of hours' time. 10 games to go from Anfield. I'll tell you what, it's pressure, isn't it? But it's pressure we enjoy. This is what Liverpool Football Club is all about, isn't it? It's in our DNA, trying to win things, trying to bring glory, getting more silverware to that packed Anfield trophy cabinet. Even more poignant, of course, with it being Jurgen Klopp's final season as we bid goodbye, a fond farewell to an absolute legend who we will never, ever forget what he's done for us. Brighton and Hove Albion, of course, do have a good record over here, Liverpool here, but in saying that, we don't care who we play at Anfield. It's all about what Liverpool do on this day. It's actually, conditions-wise, there's a bit of a swirling wind around the field, so hopefully that's not going to cause too many issues as far as Liverpool are concerned for the Reds here today. But, you know, couple of lucky omens in our team today, perhaps Wataru Endo and Alexis McAllister, because they have never lost a game when they have started a Premier League game together for Liverpool. So that's absolutely superb, isn't it? And you know, with them two playing, we've scored more and conceded fewer when those two have started as well. So hopefully that's a good omen as far as Liverpool are concerned. And don't forget as well, we've scored 73 goals in 23 home games this season. Of course, the Egyptian king back in there with Luis Diaz, and Darwin Núñez, of course, who we had that little injury scare, didn't we, with Darwin at Old Trafford in the end. But thankfully he's had a good little rest. He's raring to go for this one today. He's been banging the goals in training, so hopefully another good afternoon will beckon for Liverpool here today at Anfield against Brighton and Hove Albion. The ground is filling up nicely. The fans are in great spirits for this one. We know what we have to do, and the fans are right behind the team as always. Don't forget to join us back for live audio commentary with the goal machine. Natasha Dowie will be alongside us. But for now, I'll leave you with this one. One of my favourite Liverpool goals against Brighton in recent years. A bit of magic by Mo Salah. Anfield Road end, finished off by this net buster from Dominic Solanke. Firmino picks it up on the right, rolls it into the feet of Salah, goes past two players as if they're not there. Magical, into Solanke, shoot! Yes! The first goal for Liverpool for Dominic Solanke! Right foot, rocket into the corner of the net. What a moment for Dom Solanke! We knew it was going to come. Jurgen Klopp has shown faith in this young man. That is a brilliant goal.
Yeah, fabulous finish that was from Dominic Solanke, his one and only Premier League goal for Liverpool. We take a few of those this afternoon. If you are watching us on social media, you are about to leave us. If you want to continue watching the pre-match show on LFC TV or on Go, details of how to do so are available on liverpoolfc.com/watch. Let's just tell you about what is going on throughout the course of the rest of the afternoon and a little further ahead as well. As Steve mentioned, full commentary with himself and Tash Dowie from 2 o'clock. We will be back with Gary, with David, and with interviews from the tunnel at 4 o'clock on LFC TV and on Go. Highlights a little bit later on Go 2, and then the full match available from midnight tonight. Also, all the reaction from today's game against Brighton in the podcast available from all of your usual podcast providers. And inside Anfield, all the behind-the-scenes action from today's game on the club's YouTube and Facebook channels tomorrow. So Virgil van Dijk will lead out Liverpool once again this afternoon. Ryan Gravenberch is on the bench. We will hear from Jurgen Klopp, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes' time.